For the most part, people are going to encourage you to play it safe. It's because they're playing it safe. We can definitely hold ourselves back in life, and we could definitely cause ourselves to not experience life in its fullness when we are afraid of everything. We have to realize when it's time to grow, when it's time to get outside of our comfort zone, when it's time to stop allowing other people's projections to hold us back. Yeah, I definitely have done some crazy things in my life, but when it comes down to it, I was safe. I was okay. Am I sabotaging? Am I holding myself back? Am I telling myself these stories? Am I allowing other people's fears and projections to be mine? Are these even things that I'm really afraid of? Welcome to Let's Just Be Real with me, your host, Marissa Tonge. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur who's on a journey to create my dream life in a world where adulting just gets too real sometimes. On this podcast, we talk about all things beyond surface level to leave you feeling inspired to think bigger, unapologetically prioritize your self-care, and discover your true, authentic self. Think of me as your unfiltered but wise auntie who just wants the best for all of us. So grab your journal or maybe a glass of wine and let's get real. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tonge. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode this week. I hope you guys are doing well, taking care of yourselves, getting some rest, recalibrating after 2025, because this year is going to be amazing. Okay. And I know it's January. The girls are tired. The girls are plotting and planning, but I know the rest of the year is going to be absolutely amazing. So just make sure you're giving yourself time and grace this month to just take a breather. Okay. Just take a breather. I just got off a meeting with my certified instructors who teach my format real rhythm dance workout. And we were talking about just recalibrating and getting ready for this year that's going to be absolutely amazing and full of growth and opportunities and abundance. So I'm really excited for what's to come, especially in the spring. But right now we are just in the background. We're focused. We're getting focused. I feel like for me specifically, I'm in a period of locking in, but not putting so much pressure on myself to show up in this performative way. I feel like I've been talking a lot about less performance and more authenticity and being real about my capacity in showing up, whether that means my capacity in being on social media, my capacity with social gatherings or talking to people, all of that, right? So this month, I want us to be real and honest with ourselves about our capacity, right? But today, we're not going to be talking about that. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I personally love to talk about often, especially with women. We're going to be talking about fear, right? Overcoming fear, how fear can sometimes paralyze us from getting the things that we want, going after the things that we want, following our dreams, following our passions. So I would say I'm definitely someone who has worked through a lot of fear, especially over the past couple of years, taking really big, huge steps, right? And doing things that really scared me. Today, I was going through my previous journals. I love to do this around December, January, specifically when I'm writing a new manifestation list for the year. I like to go back and kind of just see what I manifested last year, what I was writing down, what I was calling in. And I was actually going through a box of files because I needed to find something for my car, and I found my two journals from 2021 and then 2022. And it's crazy because on my journal, I was writing about being in Bali and how excited I was to be there, how much fear and anxiety I felt before getting there. It was my first huge international trip. The year before that, I had taken my first international solo trip to Curacao. And I also was reading my journal entries about that and just being really nervous and anxious, traveling outside the country by myself for the first time in 2022. And it's crazy because when we do the things that really scare us, the things that maybe we don't have a lot of support on, right? Like nobody's really pushing you to do the things that scare you, right? For the most part, people are going to encourage you to play it safe. It's because they're playing it safe, or they don't want you to get hurt, or they don't want you to put yourself at risk or in danger, right? Especially my parents, they are definitely, they are safety kings and queens, okay? So they're not going to be pushing me to do anything crazy. Another thing that I did was move to California, right? Last year at the top of the year, we're hitting that 1 year mark of me living here, which is insane. The year has flown by, but those are three specific things that I did that scared the F out of me. And I did them because, number one, obviously I wanted to do them, but every time you do something that scares you, it builds character. It builds confidence in yourself. I would say confidence is probably the biggest thing, because when you have belief in yourself, when you have trust in yourself, when you realize that you're capable of doing something, when you're able to get over the fear, when you're able to get over yourself, when you realize like that wasn't that bad, that allows you to do more things, right? And then eventually, like, the fear becomes less and less, and things that used to scare you don't even scare you anymore. And then you can now encourage other people to do things, right? And I think specifically when it comes to women, we are encouraged to play small. We are encouraged to play it safe often. We're encouraged to stay in our lane. We're encouraged to always have protection, right? Oh, don't go out by yourself. The world is dangerous, right? The boogeyman's gonna get you. And let's be real, I mean, we are living in crazy freaking times, and I've also seen a lot of craziness in my life. I've been in a lot of let me not say a lot, but I've definitely been in situations where it could have went left, right? It could have went completely left. Okay, like I remember being in Miami. Hopefully my mom's not listening to this, but if you are, this was years ago. Okay, I was like 2019, I don't remember, but I used to go to Miami a lot when I was young, and I was always with my two girls. Like I was never in Miami just out there by myself, but we definitely like hitched a couple rides. Like, and the thing is, back in the day, it's like when you don't have fear, you almost have this protection around you, right? But when you are like always thinking the worst, like I feel like that's when the worst happens, right? Law of attraction. So if I'm thinking the worst is going to happen, then the worst is going to happen. Something bad's going to happen to me, right? In some cases. But in that case, when I was 19, 20, moving around Miami like a hot girl and just being like super bold, super confident, like there was no fear. There was no worry that like, oh my God, I'm going to get kidnapped or I'm going to get trafficked or whatever, like that thought just wasn't in my mind. And even though, yes, it should have been. And trust me, like if I ever have a daughter, like, I'm going to share these stories. Like I'm not going to lie to my daughter. And I think it's really important that we're honest with our children or our friends or our family, whoever, about the dangerous situations that we've put ourselves in or the moments that we have been very fearful, right? But we've been able to overcome it. So that being said, sorry, mom, if you're listening, but yeah, like I definitely have done some crazy things in my life, but when it comes down to it, like I was safe, I was okay, like I still made it, right? I still made it home. And this isn't to say that we need to put ourselves in dangerous situations. There's a difference between overcoming fear and putting yourself in dangerous situations. Okay. Now, in my early 20s, I definitely have been in some dangerous situations. I think I've talked a little bit about this on like previous podcasts, my hot girl era stories, my Substack, talking about like being around Diddy's son, hanging around certain celebrities, like being in environments where it was not safe, but it wasn't this matter of like, let me do this because I'm scared. Let me do this because there's fear. It was more just like a very go with the flow, YOLO type of I'm just young and dumb type of thing. It had nothing to do with like, let me do this thing because it scares me. So going into my later 20s, right, getting to the point where now I wanted to explore solo traveling. Now I wanted to explore living in a different state by myself, moving across the country. Those are things that scared me, but I also knew those were things that were going to help me to grow. So specifically as women, I think that we have to realize when it's time to grow, when it's time to get outside of our comfort zone, when it's time to stop allowing other people's projections to hold us back. Or stop allowing ourselves to hold us back, right? It's not even just about other people or what they're telling you not to do. Sometimes, like, we're telling ourselves in our own mind not to do this, right? We're the ones holding ourselves back. We're the one making up stories. We're the ones, like, feeding ourselves all of this negativity before we can even experience life. And I think we can definitely hold ourselves back in life, and we could definitely cause ourselves to not experience life in its fullness when we are afraid of everything, when we are afraid of getting hurt, right? When it comes to relationships, there's a lot of people out here who they secretly want to be loved. They secretly want partnership. They secretly want to be in partnership, but they allow their past experiences, their trauma, their fear of being hurt again to stop them from fully being loved or fully putting themselves out there to be loved. And we see a lot of people self-sabotage, men and women. We see people self-sabotage all the time, whether that's like getting into a situation where you're dating, right? You're being courted and things are going well, but now you're doing things, you're saying things to sabotage the relationship, whether that's like saying that you don't really want to be serious when you know you do, or telling this person that, oh, I'm not good with like talking on the phone, when you know that, like, girl, you like to talk on the phone. Why are you saying that? You know? So there's just certain things that we need to be more conscious and aware of. And that's why, like, I love talking about self-awareness. I love talking about building a relationship with ourselves, right? Having the awareness, checking in with ourselves to see, am I sabotaging? Like, am I holding myself back? Am I telling myself these stories? Am I allowing other people's fears and projections to be mine? Like, are these even things that I'm really afraid of? When we allow ourselves to do the scary things, to go eat out by ourselves, say that's like for you, that is something that like you've never done, you're afraid of how people are gonna see you or look at you, they're gonna think that you're a lonely ass bitch, whatever, right? But once you actually do that thing, you're gonna see that it was actually not that bad, right? It actually empowered you, and now maybe you enjoy it. And I think too, like, we have to understand that in order for us to really figure out what we like, what we enjoy, whether that's people, places, things, food, we have to be able to try it. We have to be willing to try it. We can't say that we don't like solo travel if we've never solo traveled, right? We can't say that we don't like eating out or going to the movies by ourselves if we've never done that, right? You can't say that you don't like something when you haven't done it or you're just not willing to try. Just say, I'm not willing to try it. I don't want to be that person to try it. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look dumb. I don't want people to judge me. But really, what it comes down to subconsciously is like, you don't want to judge yourself, right? Or you are judging yourself. You're judging yourself for doing this thing by yourself. You're judging yourself for quitting your job. You're judging yourself for taking a leap. You're judging yourself for telling the person that you like them. You're judging yourself for speaking up for yourself. So when we do the scary things again, when we work through that fear, we are building our trust muscle within ourselves, but we're also building our resilience to be able to get through challenges, to be able to figure it out, right? Like, how many situations have you been in where you just got to figure it out? And sometimes the people who are not able to figure things out, it's because they have no practice doing it, right? Like, have you ever talked to someone and you're trying to come to a solution and they're just like so clueless about what the solution could possibly be, and they're just like, well, I don't know, like, you help me, like, whatever. It's because they don't try, right? People who don't try, they're not going to have the same effort. They're not going to put in the same effort as someone who tries, someone who has that muscle, someone who is able to push through challenges or figure out solutions to things. So if you want to be someone who is able to figure things out, work through challenges, come to solutions, get results, like, you have to be someone that is willing to do the hard things, figure it out, work past the fear. Okay. So going back to my solo trips, I think I'm actually going to post one of the journal. Actually, I might post both of the journal entries on my Substack. I might just like write it out because they were actually really good. I like was crying reading them. But I think that, when it comes to travel specifically, and when it comes to women, I have so many women ask me about even attending my retreats, right? If you guys don't know, I'm hosting 2 retreats this year, one in Bali, and that's going to be in April. So we are booking if you guys are interested in attending. And I'm also hosting one in San Diego in July. So those are both open to book. But I get a lot of women who ask about traveling, even like taking a flight by themselves. That's usually the main concern when women are considering coming on my retreat. Like, oh, am I going to be able to fly with someone? Is everyone's on the same flight? Like, how do I get there? They have a lot of questions and concerns when it comes to transportation. And I get that. Like, transportation can be really anxiety reducing. It could be crazy, especially if you're not used to traveling or traveling by yourself. So I understand that. But I think that can also deter women and stop women from booking the retreat because they're like, oh, well, if I have to get there, if I have to get to the destination and go by myself, like that's going to be really hard, right? And you might have women who like, they want a room by themselves. They want a solo room, but they don't want to solo travel on the airplane. So it's like those small things can really build so much confidence within yourself. Like once you just do it, you are going to see it's not so bad. So one of the reasons why I host these retreats, why I put them together, is so that women can see that they're able to do things on their own. They don't have to wait for a man to travel. They don't have to wait for their friends to travel. They don't need to wait for someone to invite them. I think so many women hold themselves back again because they don't have someone pushing them. They don't have someone encouraging them. They don't have someone asking them or proposing these things. So as women, again, we were programmed and taught that we need someone else to do these things with us. We need someone to hold our hand. We need someone to walk down the street with us. We need someone to constantly be in communication with us, right? And if we're not doing those things, if we're not being guided and held, then we're unsafe. And one of the things that is going to really help us as women is to understand and cultivate safety within ourselves, safety within our nervous system, safety within our bodies, safety within the spaces that we go to, that we live in, right? Like that's been a huge thing for me living in San Diego, moving here by myself, like cultivating a sense of safety, regulating, feeling good, feeling, good in my environment, especially like I was going to write about this. Well, it's going to come out on my Substack, just like being the minority. Like I'm in an area where I am the minority. There's not a lot of Black people, like there are Black people, but you gotta search for them. So being the minority is also something that it can feel crazy. It can feel like I'm not safe. Like, I don't know, like, do I belong here? Right. So you have to constantly be working on your sense of safety within yourself, again, within your body, right? Regulating, breath work, meditation, getting comfortable with your body, talking to yourself in the mirror. These are all ways that we can feel safe within ourselves. Nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody can make you feel 100% safe. And I know, like, as women, we're always saying we need a man that's going to make us feel safe. And yes, I 100% agree with that. And that's on my list. Trust me. Like, I need to be with a man who makes me feel safe. But at the same time, I need to cultivate that first within myself. I can't depend on someone else to make me feel safe in my own life, in my own world. Because guess what? If I only feel safe with that person, what's going to happen when I'm not with that person, right? I'm not going to feel like going out. I'm going to feel like, oh, let me just stay in my bubble. Let me isolate myself. I can't do anything without this person. That's where we end up becoming codependent on people, right? Codependent in friendships, codependent in romantic partnerships. We don't want to live our lives being codependent. We want to be able to rely on ourselves to feel good, to be able to do things, to live our life, to travel. So I hope that this episode made you feel something to get up and do the thing. Get up and do the thing. Book the retreat. Okay, let's go. These retreats this year, I'm excited. I'm so excited to be back in Bali. Bali was life changing for me. Curacao was also, we did a retreat there last year. Curacao is a very special place in my heart. And Bali it's life changing. Just like the people, I think I usually don't go places for people, to be honest. Like even moving to San Diego, like I was thinking lately, I don't know why, but I've just been thinking about like people. I think because I've been more in communication with people, networking, putting myself out there, working around a lot of people. So, I often think like, do the people really matter? Like, would I still live here if it weren't for the people? And the answer is yes. Like, I just love San Diego in itself, like the nature and the accessibility to beach, mountains, just beauty, calmness. I feel at peace here. There's so many different reasons why I moved here. But when it comes to the people, I wouldn't say that that's like a determining factor. But the people in Bali, I would absolutely say that the hospitality, the kindness, the warmth that I felt from the people there, it was it was definitely a factor of me returning, right? So if I went there and people were like super nasty or, I just didn't feel comfortable there, I probably wouldn't go back because it's a far away, like going to Bali it's a time commitment, right? So if I didn't feel connected to the people there, I felt like, I didn't feel welcome or that the hospitality was good, I wouldn't go back and I definitely wouldn't be hosting a retreat there. So I would say people definitely is a factor. So if you're considering coming to Bali, like just know you're going to have an amazing time. You're going to feel safe. You're going to feel at peace. You're definitely going to feel connected to your higher self, which this retreat is probably one of the first retreats that I'm hosting where like I want to tap more into our spirituality. I wanted to give us more opportunity to really connect with nature and connect with Balinese wisdom, which is God, earth, nature, animals, plants, like we're all one. And that's something that I really loved about being in Bali. Like everyone's treated the same. Everything is the same. Like it's all part of the ecosystem, right? We're all on earth. We're all living beings, creations of God. So if you want to tap into that, then head to my website, rollrhythmdanceandfitness.com/retreats. You guys can book that. And if you're interested in a domestic retreat within the United States, or even if you're living outside the United States and you want to come to San Diego this year, that is open to book as well. So any questions, feel free to DM me, email me. You can send a message through the website as well. But I'm definitely looking forward to hosting this year and making some new memories. And I hope you guys are feeling amazing. Again, write down, there's going to be a journal prompt, okay? Write down a list of things that scare the F out of you right now, okay? Whether it could be, I don't know, getting pregnant. It could be, walking down the street to the store by yourself at 8 p.m. I don't know. Okay. And again, these don't have to be things that are going to put you in danger. Okay. Let's not do that. But just write down a couple of things, like 5 to 10 things that are scary for you right now. And over the next couple months, I want us to focus on doing at least one of those things so that we can work past that fear. And I guarantee you are going to be a different person by the end of this year. Okay. So go do that journal prompt. All right. Also check out my Own Your Confidence course that is live on my website as well. So if you're trying to build more confidence and trust within yourself and revamp your relationship, not only to yourself, but to other people, this year, we are going to be talking a lot about relationships on this podcast, and not just romantic, but just relationships in general, relationship to ourselves, just like really leveling up all of that this year. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you love this podcast, make sure you leave us a rating and review. Okay. It's January. It's a new year. New reviews are going to just make me so happy and just help me to continue to grow this podcast and continue showing up, because trust me, it's not easy always showing up. So thank you guys so much. Again, leave us a rating, review, subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, RisFitKitty, and Let's Just Be Real Pod. And we'll see you in another episode. Take care, y'all. Bye.